Gursimran, for joining for the Success Story series. So if you could just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background, that will be awesome.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Gursimran. I am basically born and brought up in Punjab, did my mechanical engineering from Punjab itself. And after my engineering, I went to Hong Kong for my master's degree. In my I majored in e-commerce and logistics technologies from Hong Kong, the Chinese University of Hong Kong. And after that, I joined a logistic company in Hong Kong, which was Carry Logistics. It is a Hong Kong-based, basically Hong Kong listed company, but has operations worldwide as a management training, and which is 1 year program. You are attached to one of the executive directors in the company, and then you basically rotate through different departments in HQ. You are assigned different projects, and after that, after 1 year of rotation, you are basically assigned to a full-time job.
Right.
So post that program, I went to China, had some assignment related to the department that I later on joined in Bangkok. And once I came to Bangkok, I have worked basically in within the same department, but in different roles, which is ranging from product development, business development, system development, and then P&L holder for that particular department. Yeah.
Right. Awesome. So you mentioned you did your master's also in Hong Kong. Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about it and why Hong Kong? Why was that your choice?
Actually, there were a lot of reasons. Like very early in my life, actually, I figured out that because I majored in mechanical engineering during my undergrad, right? Once I started that, I figured out that that was not something that I wanted to do on a very longer run. So I started to then really probe possibilities of getting it into management, but I also didn't want to do core management. I wanted to do like engineering management and stuff related to basically support system for manufacturing or the industry per se. So, and at that time, like e-commerce scene was getting very hot in India. And when I really studied it deeply, I found that it had a lot of correlation with the Chinese counterparts. And that really fascinated me to study in detail, like how basically things move behind the scene. And that was the prime reason why I selected this particular course, because it was like exact combination, like it was e-commerce and it was logistics, which basically was a perfect match for me to say. And yeah, Hong Kong also being a port had a lot of logistic opportunities, which I felt at that particular time, but I had a reality check once I moved to Hong Kong. So that was the whole reason why moving to Hong Kong and by selecting this particular course.
So
Yeah.
Hong Kong as a place to work, is it more cosmopolitan, or in terms of language, did you have any issues with that perspective, especially in the kind of role? Because I
Yeah.
think logistic requires you to work with a lot of locals and stuff like that, right? So how did that work for you?
So basically, Hong Kong is definitely a cosmopolitan city, and it's like very fast paced. But we really tend to forget that it's very China focused city, basically, or Chinese is very dominant there. And which I also at that particular time I also didn't and account that aspect of it too much. But once I landed there, I really felt that local language is so much required at that, and that is one of the main reasons why after my management training program, I selected an assignment in Bangkok.
Mm.
Yeah, I feel Bangkok is way more international than Hong Kong in terms of the culture. So yeah, like language is a very big aspect. So you, being an international student, you really have to network well to find the right job for yourself. Like I might have given 100 over interviews in Hong Kong during my 1 year of masters,
Mm.
And in Hong Kong, this is not only the part, but another aspect is like you really for securing one job, you at least have to give like 4 to 5 rounds of interview. So
Mm.
that is another grilling factor which Indian students are generally not prepared well with. Like
Mm.
you basically start with very officer or department manager level person to all the way to the MD of the company. If you have to secure roles like management associates or management trainees, and normal roles might be for the localites might be relatively easier, but for internationals is but that teaches you a lot as well. That trains you for a longer run. Yeah.
Right, right. And how long have you been at in Bangkok?
Bangkok is going to be now 6 years almost.
Wow.
Yeah, like but my role actually was not only Bangkok focused. My role has always been regional focused, where I travel a lot to Vietnam, China, Malaysia, Singapore,
Mm.
and even smaller countries which a lot of people might not have heard, like Laos,
Yeah.
Cambodia, Myanmar. Yeah, so those countries, like it has been a very uh, enriching experience, I would say. Yeah.
Right, right. So, why did the thought of an MBA come to your mind? You already had a master's. You have a very,
Yeah.
growing, successful career, international experience,
Yeah.
lot of travel. It looked like a, something that everybody aspired to do. So, why did MBA come to your mind, and why did you think you needed it at this point in your career?
Yeah, that's a very valid question, and that was one thing which took me so long to basically come up with a mindset that I really need an MBA, and it was well thought before I actually even started to research about schools and stuff, right? uh, when you work in a logistic company or logistic environment, like we always tend to work in one loop of the supply chain. Logistics also has different departments, right? Whether it is freight forwarding, contract logistics, or last mile express deliveries, or so like there are different verticals within logistics, and when you are working in a company, you tend to expertise yourself in one particular department,
Mm,
and which I already had done for 7 years almost now. And I felt that it is very, like things are getting repetitive, and I'm like just falling in this whole, basically in this. Like a binding, that you can't get out of it after some time.
mm,
So in fact, I already I think I shared with you before, I had a very good opportunity which was a much bigger role, but it was again similar, like one particular department that you're heading, like your geography might increase, but again it is very similar thing. You're designing the same solutions for customer, although you come up with innovative ideas, but it's like the same thing going again day in day out. So I wanted to get out of it and move towards more end-to-end supply chain strategy, where basically sourcing comes in, manufacturing, a part of manufacturing you're taking care, where to basically manufacture goods, and then where to have the regional setups so that the last mile of the logistic is taken care. So yeah, so like I wanted to go for those roles now, because I felt that I have right experience, right knowledge base. But again, I wanted to go for an MBA because I wanted to polish my managerial skills, to per se soft skills as well, and most importantly the right network for me to hit those kind of job profiles. Yeah.
right, right. So, you decided to apply to schools which opted a GMAT waiver option, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
was that because of time constraint? Was that because because you already
Yeah.
you wanted to apply and it was time to apply? Like,
Yeah.
what went on your mind?
Actually, it was both. To be honest, I was targeting next year basically.
Mm,
I made up my mind that MBA is a way forward for me, and I am going to take a break, polish my skills, and then look forward. And so February was already quite late in terms of the admission cycle, right? And I haven't given my GMAT at that particular time. So I started preparing for my GMAT from that time itself. So when I was doing my research simultaneously, I was talking to different people, and everybody shared with me that it's already too late. Like if you give your GMAT in June, July, then basically you are heading towards next admission cycle. And that was the time when I came across MSU current candidate who just graduated. So he shared with me his whole experience, and he also fortunately was from Punjab, so I could relate to him quite a lot, that the experience he had, and what basically the mindset was for choosing this particular school.
Mm.
So yeah, and that is where I related to him a lot. And then that was a time when I thought about that, okay, MSU, although I was thinking of like targeting those top 20, top 10 schools which every candidate basically aspire for, but when I went deep and looked into the MSU details, I really found that MSU has a very strong network in the kind of jobs that I want to target. It is like the best place to study supply chain concentration. Because when you talk about an MBA, there are very few schools where are actually known for supply chain. There will be many schools known for finance, there will be many schools known for consulting, known for marketing per se, but very few schools have this expertise of supply chain. I didn't want it to be just another guy sitting in the class who who want to do something very different from all the other people. So I wanted a similar kind of atmosphere around me, and similar kind of people that have already graduated from that school. And like if the school is focusing so much on supply chain, that really encouraged me to go for it. And when I had a talk with admission director, she really encouraged me, like, hey, we will like I'm the only Indian basically who got the GMAT waiver this year. So I was fortunate enough, and she extended my timeline also for application. She was like really accommodating at my end, and then finally I submitted it in 10 days. And fortunately, yeah, interview went well, and yeah, I got the offer.
So I think one question I wanted to ask is a lot of people when they see GMAT waiver on the published say, and most schools say that it is conditional GMAT waiver,
Yeah.
like in your case where they looked at your profile, spoke to you, and then said, okay, you will qualify you for a waiver, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people think that GMAT waiver, if they are struggling for GMAT, this is a good way to actually
Mm.
apply to the school. And I always tell them that
No,
the school is not lowering their bar. You're still competing with the same kind of people
absolutely.
you are
Yeah.
applying with. And it's, you have to make sure that how do you showcase that, even though GMAT is waived off, there
Yeah.
are other aspects of you that you have highlighted and you want to showcase as your strength. So
Yeah.
when you had your discussion with the admission committee, what are the typical things that they wanted to know to even qualify for a waiver?
See, one is definitely duration of your professional experience. How long have you been working in the industry? But that is not the only thing, but it's also quantity plus quality. What kind of job have you done? See, for Indian candidates, generally, what I have experienced is that the profile is very similar. Like they are engineers and they worked in the IT company or IT setup, and then they in India or maybe abroad, and then they apply for an MBA.
Mm.
So it's very similar. So it becomes very difficult for them to select the right candidate who they want to give the GMAT waiver on. If you have a different profile, like for myself, it was a totally different profile. Like I did my masters from Hong Kong and then worked in Southeast Asia. So that made relatively things much easier. And also the quantitative part of it, like you have to showcase them that, hey, I'm day in day out, I'm playing with numbers. I'm in this kind of role where I have to design solutions. I have to be responsible for my P&L and stuff like this, so that at least you put your best foot forward, and then it is all up to the kind of competition you basically face.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Awesome. So, tell us about the application process. We had a very short duration to look
Yeah.
at. Tell
Yeah.
us about your work with the mentor, and how did you go about it, and what
Yeah.
was your experience working with Crackverbal?
Actually, honestly, I really appreciate the kind of support that I got from Crackverbal, because it was totally out of nowhere to where I expected the application to be completed within 1 week. So, Swati from Crackverbal, the first time I had a talk with her was Swati, which she was really very nice, and she gave me the confidence that yeah, we can do this. And because she also sort of understood that okay, I have a story with me already, but we need to pen it down basically. So then I worked with Kritana, and she linked me to another agent who basically helped me to streamline my essays. And yeah, whole process was quite smooth, and I don't think anybody else would have really accommodated the timeline that I wanted them to. So for me, it was just ideal. Yeah.
Right, right. So, you got an. So, how long did it take for you to get to know that you've got an admit, and after you submitted the application?
Actually, it's quite crazy. Like the first time I had a talk with the admission director was 21st April.
Hmm.
That was the first time when I actually had a talk with her, where she encouraged me, like, okay, you can go for the GMAT waiver, and we'll consider your application. You can apply by end of April. So I applied by end of April. Then I got a interview call. I think it was around 15th May, and then I got an offer by 24th May. So within the span of 1 month, like everything was done. Yeah.
Right. And in terms of the scholarship process, right? You also got a
Yeah.
scholarship from Michigan State. So,
Yeah.
did you have to write a separate essay, or or how, or what, did it come with your admit? How did they look at it?
There's no separate like application as such, but yeah, you really need to polish your essays in a way that where you uh, like put your best foot forward again, and they consider you for the scholarship according to the funds. For me, because I was so late in the cycle, that scholarship funds were already exhausted. And but they were quite nice. They really helped me to whatever best they could do to bring me in. They did that. Yeah.
Right, right, awesome. So, congratulations, Gursimran. I think short duration, start to finish, everything got done. More importantly, you got an admit to a great school of your choice, and I
Yeah.
think it is known for operations, and I think aligning your career, expediting your career in the next phase post MBA will certainly be something that this will be a great value add to your profile, right? So
Thank you so.
congratulations once again.
Thank you so
And
much.
so what are the next steps? You mentioned you're networking now. What is the timeline you have now? When do you get started? Have they given you a date when they start?
So basically, as soon as I got the admit, they asked me to fill different formalities, and also send my transcripts to university, so that they can once uh, like all the information reaches them, then they'll start my I-20 process.
Hmm.
Until then, they cannot start my I-20 process. So I think uh, from yesterday onwards, they would have started my I-20 process.
All right.
Yeah, so which will take around 4 to 5 weeks, I guess. And after that, like they'll post me here, I'll take the date and go for my visa thing. So meanwhile, because I also want to make sure that I'm ready for the MBA, because everything happened so quickly. So yeah, this is the time I want to use mainly for my personal preparation, whether it is mentally or academically. And also I want to talk to as many people as I can, so that at least I can learn from their experiences. so that then that would, I think that would be really helpful for me to, because once you start your MBA, it is so quick, things are moving so quickly. Like in the first 2 semester, basically you are doing multiple courses, and then you're talking to so many different companies which for your internship. So I feel that that will be really overwhelming for me, so it's better to prepare beforehand.
That that's true. I know. This is also a phase of uh, anticipation. At the same time, there's a little bit
Yes.
of nervousness, but excitement, everything together.
Actually, there is a lot of nervousness, to be honest, because it is not easy. Uh, in the first place, when I started to then I basically decided that I want to go for an MBA, right? It is not easy, like to leave your job, because my wife is also studying at this point of time. So that really like calls for a lot of a lot of introspection, and but yeah, I'm happy that I made this decision, honestly.
Right. Right.
Yeah, like, it will really give me time to introspect, time to polish whatever I'm lacking, right?
Right. I think, it's definitely brave. At the same time, I'm so glad it worked out so well for you. Congratulations.
Thank
And
you.
wish you all the best. And I'm sure you will do awesome, in the next phase of your life. I would love to connect with you maybe next year again to understand what's happening in your life at that point, and, know more about the course and how it went for you. I would love
Yeah.
to hear. So maybe, yeah, we'll connect again. And thank you so much for your time. Really, really appreciate it. And all the best for your.
For sure, ma'am. Looking forward to connect with you next year with some happy,
Absolutely.
happy moments. I hope my experience is going to be as I am
It will
expecting it
be.
to be. Yeah, like, but thank you so much again for all the support from Crackverbal, and I hope I would do justice to all your efforts.
Thank you, Gursimran.
Take,
All the best. Take care.
take care, ma'am. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye bye. Take care.
Bye. Bye.